What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with my weekly buy low, sell high candidates. At the beginning of the season, you can jump on some of these guys, get some great values, and help your fantasy rosters win those championships by seizing the opportunity. And I'm going to tell you guys exactly how. Before I do, though, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You're going to stick around for my rankings, my waiver wire, my rest of season rankings, all that good stuff to help you win your league. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section. I got you guys as always. If you need trade advice on any of these guys, let me know. I can help you guys out. Any kind of fantasy questions you guys got, I got you. Start sits, any of that stuff. And please hit that like button. It really helps out the algorithm. Let's talk my buy lows, my sell highs. This first one's probably no surprise. He's probably in just about everybody's list right now because you can buy so low on him, and that's why I absolutely love it. And it's tight end for the Atlanta Falcons, Kyle Pitts. Let me just talk some numbers. What if I told you Kyle Pitts had a higher percentage of snaps played right now than Travis Kelce does by a pretty considerable margin? That is true. Pitts is playing 86% of snaps in week 1, 93% in week 2. Kelce, meanwhile, was I think in the 40s or about 60% and then about 80%. Both weeks lower, significantly lower than Pitts. Pitts is that guy. He was drafted number 4 overall, highest drafted tight end in NFL history, 1,000 yards as a tight end his rookie year, second most in NFL history. He plays a lot of in the slot, a lot of outside, basically gets a lot of wide receiver snaps. We're always looking for these year 2 breakouts at wide receiver. And Kyle Pitts is basically a wide receiver that you can play in your tight end spot. That's why I love acquiring him right now. He's off to a bit of a slow start, but I think that's all going to turn around. He had 7 targets in week 1. Didn't get a ton of targets this most recent week. I just acquired him in a league. Let's look at his target breakdown. Like I said, 7 and then 3. Drew a pass interference this last week. Gets Seattle upcoming. I think he is going to get it going very much so this week, especially with the pressure from the team. They've been losing games. I think all of that's going to help him. He's my number 1 buy low. I think you could buy him pretty low, honestly, right now, and that's why I think he's so exciting. Go out, trade one of your players that's gotten up to a hot start, maybe like an Antonio Gibson or somebody like that, and go get yourself Kyle Pitts. I'm going to talk about Gibson here in a minute when I get to my sell highs. Let's bring up our next player, Leonard Fournette. Leonard Fournette, I think, is currently a great value. If we look, sure, he hasn't got the touchdown, but look at his workload. 21 carries, 24 carries. Hasn't had a ton of receptions, but I think that will change. I think he's going to catch a good amount of balls this year. Could catch 60 passes, or at least 50, I think. And the reason being, they don't have a ton of options right now in Tampa, especially with their injuries in the depth chart. Tom Brady trusts him. I expect that big workload on the ground to continue. I expect the touchdowns to start to come, and once those do, honestly, I don't think you're going to be able to acquire him after this week in Green Bay. I think he's going to have a monster week, and everyone's going to figure out he is that dude. One thing I would say with Leonard Fournette, just because he is a big back, gets a large workload, I would probably secure Rachaad White as well. He's probably on your waiver wire. Just think he's a good cuff to keep around, but Leonard Fournette I love acquiring right now. Moving on to our next player, Javonte Williams. Also really like this player. He just looks excellent on the ground right now. Sure, Russ and them haven't figured it out, but he's getting a good workload. He didn't have a ton of receptions this last week, but he had 11 the week before that. I think he's going to get enough work through the air. He could catch close to 50 passes this year, if not more. And that's a very, very high number for a running back. And then he's going to get the carries. He's going to be efficient. This offense is going to get better. Sure, they've run through a lot of growing pains so far, and I think a lot of that has to do with the coaching and things of that nature. But Javonte is going to figure it out. This offense is going to figure it out. It might take another week or two, but Javonte, I think the running game will be fine, and Javonte will be fine for your lineups in these next few weeks, although he might not be dynamite against San Francisco. But I think going forward, he's a guy who I am extremely excited to own, and would definitely be going out there and trying to acquire. If I could do some kind of deal for Javonte or really any of these players and sell Clyde EdwardsPlant, I just dealt him in a deal. Reason being right now, look at that. RB5 and half-point PPR. That's the type of guys you want to move on, especially when you look into the advanced numbers. I talked about Kyle Pitts and how high of a snap percentage he's playing. Routes run are also extremely high for him. But with Clyde, last week, Jerick McKinnon was on the field 100% of the red zone snaps. Clyde's playing less than 50% of the snaps. And like I said, he's currently RB5. I'm not saying I dislike Clyde. I think he's going to be a solid RB2, even borderline RB1 maybe, just with the current composition of the running backs. The rest of season, I think I probably see him as like a top 15 back moving forward, maybe top 18. But right in that range at least. And But I just think if you can move him to someone in your league right now, if I can move Clyde and a piece and go acquire a Leonard Fournette or a Javonte Williams, I would absolutely love to do that. I like the offense, but he really I wish he was playing more snaps, to be honest with you. I just wish they would give him more work. He's just a first-round draft pick. He's talented, but they don't care. Okay, Antonio Gibson's up next. Reason being, this guy is currently the RB11, and I do think when Brian Williams comes back, Brian Robinson comes back from that gunshot injury, he's going to get a large workload. If we look at he stayed his league last week with a touchdown, basically. I don't think he has a ton of job security, but I think he's a guy you could potentially move now to somebody in your league who doesn't realize that Brian Robinson probably gets that job back when he comes back in 2 weeks. I would think around 2 weeks. It could be sooner. He's already practicing somewhat, but it's hard to know with an injury like that. Really difficult to know specifics on that one. This is a guy as well I would try to sell. Devin Duvernay. He's currently extremely high in the ranks. He's wide receiver 15. He's literally available in this league currently. I'm not adding him, but I think if you have him on your roster and you could trade him, I would love to move him. Obviously some of his points have come from that kickoff return, getting targeted as well. I don't see him being able to keep it up super long, and I think Bateman and Mark Andrews will be the guys on that team. Another guy we want to sell high on, and these are not guys I necessarily hate. It's just they've gotten off to such a hot start. I think there's someone in your league that will buy into them being an absolute fantasy star. Kirk just got a massive contract, has had excellent weeks to start the season. 12 targets in week 1, 6 targets this last week, but he got it done in the touchdown department. Like I said, I think he will be a good player rest of season, but I do view him very much more as a wide receiver 2 than a wide receiver 1. So if you can move him on this wide receiver 1 start that he's shown, I would love to do that. Maybe go out and acquire, like if I take Christian Kirk and Clyde Edwards-Helaire and get a Leonard Fournette and a piece, I would absolutely love that. I might even do that deal straight up for Leonard Fournette. If I could get Leonard Fournette and Rachaad White, I would do that. I think you could do that in several leagues. That is the end of my buy low, sell highs. If you guys have any trade ideas, drop them in the comment section down below. I'll let you know whether I would do them or not. Thank you guys so much for watching. Last week, Mike Williams was featured in my buy low segment. We all saw what he did last week. Pitts was in there as well. Honestly, another name I'll throw out there, just a few. If you guys can get these guys, I would say Dalvin Cook, a name that started off to a slow start that I'm not worried about. Joe Mixon, not worried about him. Austin Eckler, not as worried about him. And then Saquon Barkley. All those guys, if you can acquire any of those running backs, even Jonathan Taylor didn't play great last week. Any of those, I'd be willing to throw in some trade requests on. See if you can get them away from their owner for maybe 80 cents on the dollar, 90 cents on the dollar. But those are just some names that I like that I'm looking to acquire in my leagues currently. If you guys have made it to this point in the video, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and if you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. This has been Fantasy Joe. Thank you guys for watching.